Hey there, welcome to Prog Monster. My name is Murph and I am the host of this show, a show that's dedicated to progressive rock, hard rock, heavy metal, and other forms of rock music. So today we're doing our series, the one about rock greats who thrilled us but have since passed on. This will be episode number 37 from the year 2000. So we're now into a different millennia, a different century. The beginning of the 2000s. I've got a couple of good ones, I think. Benjamin Orr of the Cars, bass player and vocalist for the Cars, like him quite a bit. And Nick Masse of the Four Seasons, a band who I liked a lot as a child. My god sister had a couple of singles of theirs, the 45s. And played them a lot. My parents used to tease me because her name was Sherry, and they'd sing that song to me and get me all like red in the face. You know, wonderful parents I had. So anyways, we're here to do those two, and then at the end I will also give you my honorable mentions. So without further ado, here we go. We'll be doing Benjamin Orr first because I like to stick with the game plan, which is to do whoever passed first goes first. And so Benjamin Orr, he was born September the 3rd, 1947 in Lakewood, Ohio. He died October the 3rd, 2000 at the age of 53 in Atlanta, Georgia. Now, I actually think, it wasn't September the 3rd he was born. It was September the 8th. I can't see that well from this angle, and it looked like a 3. Okay, of course, he played in the rock and new wave music genre. He was, and his instruments were vocals, bass, but he also played guitar, keyboards, and drums. I don't think he played them with the Cars, but he had those abilities. He was active from 1965 till 2000. His family basically were who actively supported his interest in music. He became proficient in several instruments, including guitar, bass, keyboards, and drums, and of course vocals as well. He joined a band when he got to high school. He joined a band called the Grasshoppers, and they put out a couple of singles. He also, they also were on one of the local television shows every week, playing. That particular band was, anyways. And he was their lead vocalist and their guitar player. And that was in 1964. The band dissolved in '66, and because two members of the band were drafted into the army. He eventually was too, but at that point, with the two members gone, they dissolved the band. He then joined a band called Mixed Emotions, and then another one called later called Colors. Then he was also drafted into the U.S. Army. But he received a difference and was allowed to leave the army after only a year and a half, and then he continued his musical career. He first met Rick Ocasek in Cleveland while he was with the Grasshoppers. Ocasek saw him playing on the channel that him and the band were on all the time, and so they got together and they formed a band called Milkwood, which was which was a folk band, and this also featured guitarist James Goodkind was also on that. So then they then formed another band after that called Richard the Rabbit with Greg Hawkes, the keyboardist, and then after him they formed another band called Cap and Swing, with guitarist Elliot Easton. After these bands broke up in 1976, he, or Ocasek, Hawks, and Easton all formed a band along with drummer David Robinson, and they called the band The Cars. And that's where The Cars started. He sung a lot of their hits, Let's Go, those there's a couple of other ones too, but Let's Go is the one I remember the best. That's because that's probably my favorite. Great group. Very new wave-ish, I think, but one of the new wave bands that I like quite a bit. He was very much a rock star. I think he had the look, he had the voice, he could do all the instruments, he wrote the music. I think he was maybe not the main guy. Ocasek was probably the main guy, but he was definitely like co-leader at the time when they started. He played on 6 Cars albums. He also played on a couple of albums by one of his earlier bands, and he then went solo. When he was solo, he also had another hit under his own solo band. And but he eventually, after they'd been separated, the Cars broke up in '88. After they'd been separated for about 10 years, they got back together and were touring when he was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. He still continued to tour and work in his solo career and everything, but then the last show he did about a week later after that, he passed from the pancreatic cancer. So very good musician. He was, I think, inducted after his death into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as well. I'm not 100% sure of that, but I know he was inducted for something. Okay, then the second guy I chose to do today, Nick Masse, maybe not as impactful but impactful in a different way. This was one of the few bands I actually listened to prior to my getting into rock music, before Kiss, before BTO, and I would just listen to my friends' 45s or my cousin's 45s. I didn't even know any of the bands at that point in time. One of the songs, Sherry, Big Girls Don't Cry, Ragdoll, all those early Four Seasons hit, he played on their first 8 albums, so he was quite influential in a lot of the earlier stuff. He was born September the 19th, 1927 in Newark, New Jersey. He died Christmas Eve, or Christmas Day Eve, year 2000, at the age of 73 in West Orange, New Jersey. He was a rock and pop star, of course. He played bass and did some backing vocals, and he was active from 1950 up till his death in 1990, up until 1999, and then he died in the year 2000. After his military service, he decided that he was going to pursue a career in music. He joined a local vocal group called the Four Lovers, which featured a couple of members of the Four Seasons. And they, of course, later, because at that point he met Tommy DeVito, Frankie Valli, and Bob Gudero, and they later changed their name to the Four Seasons. And of course, their first album had 2 huge hits on it, which were Sherry and Big Girls Don't Cry. And they basically, from top singles from the 1960s and 70s right through, they were fairly proficient at making singles. Eventually, in 1965, he left the band and was replaced by one guy, and that guy left, and then I think he eventually was replaced by Joe Long. I don't know that for a fact, but I think that's who it was. Anyways, he had a pretty successful career. This band sold over 100 million albums, and I don't have the stats in front of me, but 100 million albums, they got to be in the top 20 selling bands of all time. I can't think of too many over 100 million. I mean, the Beatles for sure, and Zeppelin, and a few bands like that. But I mean, to do 100 million in the 60s wasn't easy. And they were a kind of vocal band that was around during the time of the British invasion, but they weren't British. So, but they did have some success over here along with the Beach Boys. So there you go. This was Nick Masse. Okay, and he actually died. I think I said this. Yeah, I did say it. On Christmas Eve, 2000, cancer as well, I believe. Yeah, cancer. He was 73. So there you have it. Two people I've quite enjoyed listening to at different periods of my life. Masse probably about 8 to about 12, and then Rick Ocasek, not Rick Ocasek, Benjamin Orr and the Cars in the early 80s when I was probably about 18, 19, 20 in that time period. So I hope you enjoyed this video. So this one will come out tomorrow morning. I had one come out today as well for the series. It was supposed to come out yesterday for the series, so if you were looking for it yesterday and didn't see it, was wondering what was going on, well, it was because they were doing some renovation here and there was too much noise. It was distracting to do the video, so I decided to do it last night instead. So anyways, I hope you enjoy this one. Coming up tomorrow night will be my Friday night live, not tomorrow night, Friday night live experience. I'm narrowed down to a couple people, but I'm not 100% sure, and I like to wait right till the last minute before I start the video. So I generally watch the concert and make notes about it, and then present it on my live video. That's what I'm going to do this week. There won't be a live album to do. Last week I did a live album, so this week I'm going to do a video. So I hope everybody will come and see me do that on Friday night live experience, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please, I almost forgot. I almost did it. I did it I started to do this earlier, and I had to redo it because I forgot my honorable mentions. Oh my. So let's get that, because that's important. Okay, so the honorable mentions I have about 10. Maybe a little more, maybe about 15. Nat Adderley, the brother of Cannonball Adderley. Dub Jones of the Coasters, Doris Cooley of the Shirelles, Dave Pavrette of Bogat, Andy Lewis of the White Lambs, I think that's what it is. I try to get so many in that I write them small and then I can't read them, so then I don't get them in. So what's the point, really? Ian Dury of the Ian Dury and the Blockheads, Joe Jaramilla, the Cannibal and the Headhunters, Ralph Jones of Big Bill Haley and the Comets, Michael Hartman of David Lee Roth and Jeff Beck, and Jerome Smith of Casey and the Sunshine Band. Then we have Alan Woody of, I can't even read that, so you'll just have to go with it, figure it out. Bobby Sheehan of the Bobby Sheehan Sox and the Blue Jam, and Hoyt Curtin of Hoyt Curtin was the guy who did all the musical stuff for Hanna-Barbera animation, like all their cartoons, whenever like Foghorn Leghorn and Wile E. Coyote and Speedy Gonzales and Bugs Bunny and all that. He did all the music for that. And I know it's not rock related, but damn, I love those shows so much. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video, and now I got the honorable mentions in. I'm sorry I wrote too small. Some of them are not going to get done right, but one of these days I'm going to learn. Don't ask me when, but one of these days I'm going to get it. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the show, and if you did, please subscribe and like down below. And you have yourself a good evening. It's a bit cold out there, so bundle up, and we will see you soon. Bye.